So the theme I've chosen for my surrealist artwork is equality, and I've wanted to focus on the idea of Aboriginal and Australian history, the history of Australia. Because I lived in Australia for a year, I learnt quite a lot about the history and the Indigenous people of Australia, and so I wanted to make mine about that and how in the late 1800s the British came to Australia and took the land, and now the Indigenous people of Australia are quite oppressed, and that there's not equality among the sort of the British who came over, who now make up the majority of the population, and the very small population of Aboriginal and Indigenous people. And so I wanted to make mine about this. So what I've done is I've drawn the eucalyptus leaves, which are a native tree to Australia, in front of the eye of an Aboriginal person behind. And then I've got a map of Australia underneath, almost like as tree roots. So I've got this idea of this Aboriginal person watching it go ahead and feeling and suffering all of that pain that happened when the British came over and took the land. And I've got like the kind of tears coming down and pouring into the roots of the Australia, the land that is still there underneath. All of this kind of Western civilization that's been built on top of the land. So that's what my idea is, and I've thought about my composition in terms of having this centred, so it's almost like not symmetrical, but I've got this in the centre, so it's the main focus, and then it's coming down, so I'm using a lot of the space. So a compositional technique that we call this kind of thing is the rule of thirds. So if you think about the A3 sheet of paper split into three, lengthways and this way, you've got to think about what you're using in the space. How balanced is it? I've got something going on down here to attract your attention. I've got something going on up here, and it's kind of coming down the middle and centered. So do think about your compositional techniques, whether you're going to think about the rule of thirds, your use of negative space, and how you're going to think about symmetry and your composition. All right, so have a think about what you're going to draw to represent your issue and how you're going to symbolize it.